those chains there, you just can't stand to have any kind of cramp or aches. You just can't make it.
Number 3, Richard Childress Racing Cars. He by far has the best car. Kevin Harvick's back in 39th. Jeff Green in the 30s, back in 30th, about to go a lap down.
Oh, he's doing a great job. I mean, coming in here, starting in the back and running up there in the 13th position. That's pretty impressive.
And his pit boss at Indy today was his car owner, Richard Childress, telling him when to pit and what was going on from the pit box.
Chip Ganassi also had cars in both the 500 and the 600, as did Indy 500 winning car owner for the second year in a row, Roger Penske, who owns the cars of Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman here in Winston Cup.
How about old Castroneves winning that thing second time? Pretty cool.
Sure was close on that final caution.
Oh, man, I tell you, it's a good thing they had an ISO on that caution light.
Paul Tracy just narrowly missing his first Indy 500 win.
Yeah, and good for him, because Tracy has a lot of bad luck, and he's a great driver.
Stuart Craven, 6th place.
And look at that other car that's moved into position there. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. It's almost like, Darrell, as this track cools down, conditions get a little better, motor's making more power with that cool air, he's getting a little better. There you see our Fox track, Ricky Craven in 6th. He's about 7.5 seconds behind our leader right now, Ricky Rudd.
We heard Gordon call in earlier, you know, radio in earlier and tell him he wore out the right rear tire. That just tells you the car was nice and free. As this track tightens up, that nice and free becomes nice and fast.
Last time Jeff Gordon won a Winston Cup race, Dorothy and Toto were in victory lane with him. We were in Kansas. It was last season, and who would have ever thought that Gordon would go this long without repeating a win?
And this is the car that he won that race with.
Very uncharacteristic for him.
2nd place, Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. heating up. Johnson, the pole sitter.
Now, Mike, I think it just becomes so obvious. At cars that were fast early on, all of a sudden, they're kind of back in the, you know, out of the top 5 or 6. And guys that were back there in the 10th, 12th, 15th spots starting to move back to the front.
The fellow that has moved the furthest is Kurt Busch. He's up to 4th place after bringing out the first caution flag.
And that's the thing that we talk about the whole show here before it started, was this track transition. Who's going to be good when the sun goes down? How about it, Dick?
Well, you know, you talk about Robbie Gordon and being tired and all that and having problems behind the wheel of the race car. And people, I think, tend to focus on the fact that they are just driving a lot of laps. But there is so much more to it. The Indianapolis 500 is so many people. Drivers are surrounded by them. Here, too, I walked down that long road to driver introductions beside Robbie Gordon, and it's just a tumult of people slapping his hands, slapping him on the back, people in the garage area all wanting his attention. It's an enormous mental strain as well as an enormous physical strain. If he makes this thing, he's superhuman. He's doing a great job so far.
Now, Gordon has complained of rib area cramps. Jeff Hammond.
Oh, trouble down here. It's 1 car's around.
Steve Park.
Park in the 1 car.
Caution is out for the 6th time. At lap 162 for Steve Park at turn 4.
Looks like he just got loose and backed it up into the fence.
Harvick tried to get one of his laps back. I don't think he quite made it.
No, he didn't quite make it.
Park goes straight to his pit box.
A lot of rumors going around about Park in that 1 car. What's going to happen after this race? If he'll continue to be in it or not.
Had a bad crash in a Busch race last fall at Darlington, and he's been on the comeback trail. Hasn't progressed along as quickly as he would like or that team would like.
Qualified back in 20th position.
Okay, keep it in neutral right now. Get that on. Probably need to come back in and work on that.
It takes a lot of courage.
Okay.
It takes more courage, I believe, to stay out of the car and get well than it does to get back in the car before you're ready.
Well, ask Johnny Benson, who has cracked ribs from a Busch crash at Richmond and is sitting out until Dover.
Back there all by himself, Larry, right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Boy, that 4 car was lucky.
Yeah, it was close.
That's insane. Remember last wreck we had down there, he went to the outside and just barely made it. That time he went to the bottom and just barely made it.
It's been 30 laps since that last restart. I'd say pit road will be a busy place once again. Ricky Rudd, that 28 car, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Matt Kenseth in the 17, have our Fox tracks. They'll start peeling off. Actually, Kenseth will peel off first, then Ricky Rudd, remember Jimmy Johnson at the end of pit road. Dick Burton. Well, Matt Kenseth, reminiscent of Texas where he won. The adjustments they're making to this car are incredibly minor. Last pit stop, they put a round and a quarter in the left rear. This stop, they're taking a half a round out. To Steve.
Well, Dick, for the third stop in a row, no changes at all on the 28 car of Ricky Rudd. He gets a cold rag, 4 tires, and 22 gallons of gas. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, on the last stop, Jimmy Johnson's crew made a wedge adjustment. He says it really didn't respond well, so this time they made both a wedge and track bar adjustment. He's going to beat the 8 and the 17 off pit road. He was loose on entry and tight in the center. It just would not cut in the center of the corner.
Boys, I'm telling you, the race on pit road's got me about as excited as the race on the racetrack.
Well, what happened too with the 48 and those guys down on the end of pit road down here, Larry, is they got tired of that 17 beating them out. So they've got on the drivers, you're going to have to get in here quicker and get out quicker, and I think that's making the difference.
I believe old Michael Fatback McSwain was saying, I don't know how we can have a pit stop any quicker. They're still trying to beat us out of here.
Shaking his head.
The Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Cold down easy.
Let's have a look at how they came off pit road.
All right, we'll go right to it. We're going to show you why Ricky Rudd looked here from 1st to 11th pit stop, but the problem was this reason Fatback was unhappy. They couldn't get the right front tire off. But look at Matt Kenseth, that group. I know we keep talking about him, but there's something to talk about. Look at the pit stop. 4 tires and fuel, 14.3 seconds. And remember, these tires have 5 lug nuts. They're not like those Indy cars with 1 lug nut. They have 5.
What I like about these guys, that's not the first time they've done that. They've been doing this all night long and all year long.
So it's Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, the 17 of Matt Kenseth, the 20 of Tony Stewart, the 6 of Mark Martin, then Ricky Craven, John Andretti, Michael Waltrip, Robbie Gordon, and Sterling Marlin are the top 10. 29 cars on the lead lap as we go back to green.
Having more and more cars on that inside line trying to get those laps back as this race goes further and further. Now, Jeff Burton in the 99 car, he's one of those cars now, a lap down, sandwiched between Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. I think the only way he'll get a lap back right now from Jimmy Johnson is if we catch a quick caution and Jimmy Johnson back off and let him have it back.
Yeah, because I don't really think he can stay there all that long.
Darrell, do you like having a lapped car behind you as the leader, you know, in the rocking chair, or is that unnerving because he's got to go?
Yeah, no, I don't like it because he might do something foolish. He's gambling. You know, a caution comes out, you maybe check up, and he runs over you. So you just never know.
Well, he's not going to be there for long. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Budweiser number 8 car down at the bottom of the racetrack. They kept Jeff Burton up to the top, trying to get back up there and fight Jimmy Johnson for this lead.
Well, Burton hadn't been good enough so far to get that lap back, so I think he'll fade back pretty quickly here, but he's kind of a nuisance until he does.
Now, Robbie Gordon, you heard, has some cramping in his rib cage area, so under the caution, he and the crew talked over what they might do to help Robbie Gordon.
Robbie, we got you a sports drink mixed with Gatorade, Powerade, goodies, and orange juice in it. It ought to be good. 4 tires. Come on, Robbie. Come on, bud. Catch up.
No, man. That's okay. Just let me hurt.
Right here. You got him, Bill.
That don't sound too good to me.
Now, goodies is aspirin, acetaminophen, and
Sounds like
caffeine.
that'll make you sick.
I think there's a method to the
There you
madness.
go. Come on.
Gil Martin keeps trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Hey, it'll be good.
No.
Well, let's see. Is he going to drink it?
There it is. Nice big drink. I think Gil's method to his madness there was you drink something tastes that bad, you'll forget about some rounds.
Come on. Side. 4,000. Keep digging. Clear high.
All right, Steve Burns.
Well, guys, they talked about adding some padding to the seat. This is what part of it is. They cut it out, but they did not put it in the seat on this stop. Also, as you should know, Kevin LePage is here in the pit standing by should Robbie need to get out of the car. Let's check in now with Jeff Hammond.
one of the things they keep talking about with Robbie's car is trying to get him, because he's already run 500 miles in Indy today, so he's probably pretty physically just wore out. What the seat's designed to do is to help hold you in there as you go around this racetrack. It keeps you from getting over and leaning. Right now, he's having to use a lot of energy to hold himself up. So what they might do is take this piece of padding, come in, he'll stick it over here beside himself. That'll help support him. Again, let the seat do the work and save him the trouble of trying to spend all that energy for the rest of these 600 miles here tonight. But I tell you what, this has kind of wore me out. I think I'll get me a sports drink right now, or a drink of water, and get right back up to the booth.
Here's what that tells me Robbie Gordon is very, very tired, because you hold yourself in the car with your legs, you hold yourself in your car with your arms and your hands on the steering wheel, and when you get tired, you start to lay over to the right side, and the tireder you get, the harder you push on that right side.
And Darrell, something I don't think we talk about enough that we can emphasize is, yeah, 600 miles, 400 laps, but the G-forces these drivers will take, not twice a lap, but this quad oval front stretch, you have a lot of G-forces slinging you to the right down the way this front stretch is designed.
Plus, the track is not very smooth. When you go down that back straightaway, it jostles that car around. You watch them down here. Bam, 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 bam.
Now, Robbie Gordon is the 9th place car, so he's not anxious to bring that car to pit road. Right behind him, Jeff Gordon, no relation, the defending Winston Cup champ, also had his troubles on that stop. Matt?
Well, DW, keep one thing in mind. It is also one of the hottest days of the year. And Jeff Gordon on that stop. No chassis adjustments, just driver adjustments. 2 bags of ice and a water bottle. They came in 7th, went out 11th. No problems on the stop. It was just slow. 16 and change.
Darrell, it's 120 degrees in that car. How long is that ice going to be ice?
Well, it doesn't last very long, and the problem is you can't put it where you want it. I mean, you know, you can't put it down in the back because you pushed up against the back of the seat. You can't put it on the right side because you're laying up against the right side of the seat. So about all you can do is dump it down the front of your uniform and just kind of let it trickle down where it wants to go.
Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, 1.7 seconds back. Tony Stewart, Ricky Craven, Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, and in 8th place, John Andretti.
And that Dodge started back in 28, and he's worked his way, as you said, Mike, up to 8. It's almost like his car is getting a little better as the night goes on. Dick Bergman.
Well, John Andretti is Mario Andretti's nephew. Aldo's son, his crew chief, is Greg Stedman. They're looking for their first top 5 in over a year. But the car looks good tonight. Can you get it further forward, Greg?
Yeah, it's been pretty good most of the night. We haven't done many changes. We put a couple rounds of wedge in at the first stop. Another man, we haven't changed anything. So we'll see what the weather does now that it's cooled off.
And that's a big trick. That's what everybody's worried about, Darrell and Mike. Larry, is the weather. As we get cooler in the evening, adjusting these cars on the pit stop, that's the big, big trick to going fast and finishing well here tonight.
Well, to no surprise, it sounds like everybody's been pretty loose in the first part of this race. They talked about Greg Stedman putting wedge in the car, in the left rear, putting more weight there. That tightens their car up. Good chance they'll take those 2 rounds out and maybe 2 more as this racetrack, as it tightens up and the racetrack temperature cools down.
Bide your time. That's all you got to do. We'll get it right for you. And that's the thing that crew chief needs to be telling Robbie Gordon right now. Robbie, we're going to help you. We're going. You got to. I say it every week, I know, but it's so true. Got to encourage that driver. If you'll just hang in there, buddy, we'll fix it for you.
A lot of experience back here, Darrell. Kyle Petty, Bobby Hamilton in the 55. That's that big front bumper you see behind Dale Jarrett now. And Bill Elliott in that group.
Tony Stewart just took a high line off. Well, I think there must be fluid down there in turn 2 because 25 car took off up the hill as well. I don't know what happened down there.
Dale Jarrett, he's in the 18th position. Darrell, you talked about it earlier. This is no surprise. It's like they're almost keeping him posted where the leader is. He started way back in 38th position, provisional land, and he just kind of keeps coming slowly but surely as the night progresses.
See, that's the maturity of a veteran. They just kind of hang around, and at the end of the night, all of a sudden you look up and you say, where did he come from? A lot like what